Hey, no, never will, never gonna move like.
Hey guys, it's Alex and this is my first YouTube video. Now, normally I don't really think I would be typically doing a video like this, especially when I had imagined myself going into YouTube. So, I hope that it doesn't scare you off or get too depressing. It's really just to share a story with you, something I've been through, and I really hope that it can touch people and help people if they've gone through this situation, or if they are going through it or will be going through it. And I hope that it also brings us together on a more personal level, and maybe some people can get to know me a little better, and just we can come to a real understanding. And if you are family or friends of mine, I hope that if you do watch this video, it does help you better understand what has gone on in the past year for me and for my family. I would first like to start off by saying cancer sucks. It's a disease, and it's a very common and bad disease. It's crazy. And there's so many like doctors and different companies and things that are there for you. So it's like a big cancer community. If you really weigh down the odds, yes, so many survive, but so many pass on. My mom, as you can tell by the title, was diagnosed with cancer my last couple weeks of 8th grade back in 2016. Basically, what had been happening, she had serious pain throughout her body, mainly her back. And one day, I came home, and my sister was here, and my mom was crying. My mom is a very tough lady. She doesn't cry about a lot. She doesn't really bring something up unless it's really, really bothering her. But she was crying, and she just couldn't take it anymore. She's like, we called Dad, we're getting ready to bring Mom to the hospital. Like, this is kind of scary. I don't really understand, like, what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with my mom, so I was worried. She stayed until, like, the last week. They weren't really sure, the doctors weren't really sure what was wrong, and so they had to keep running tests. She had, I think, fractured something in her back or messed up something in her back. And how she did it is she picked up a little kid at work because she worked at the preschool. Well, typically, if you pick up a little kid, your back should not just fracture. But I think it was a tumor they found in her back, and they had to cut it out or some type of surgery. So my mom underwent surgery. One day, we go in, and it was the last week of school. And I actually started struggling with school because, you know, that's kind of a freaky thing, like your mom being in the hospital, no one knowing what's wrong with her. I visited my mom before, and then we went, and then we came back. And when we came back, my brother was there and his wife was there, and I noticed something was different. My mom, she was smiling a ton. She's just being her normal happy self. Everybody was looking at me and like dodging, and kind of looked like they were trying to tiptoe around a situation. And my mom tells me, she's like, you know, maybe your brother and Elisa, which is his wife, can take you out to lunch sometime this weekend and tell you what's going on. And immediately in my head, I'm like, if they have to take me to lunch, then this is something serious. Like, everyone was being super gentle with me and not telling me anything, and so I was like, okay, well, whatever this is, probably sucks. It's probably really bad, but, you know, I'll just go with it. So I did end up going to lunch with my brother and his wife, but they didn't tell me anything. So somebody called my brother. I remember this. We were in the parking lot of the food place we were at, and he was like, someone needs to be home when the oxygen gets there. And, you know, I'd seen the fault in our stars, so I was like, oxygen? Why do we need oxygen? And immediately I was like, okay, well, my mom probably has cancer because the fault in our stars, she had an oxygen tank, and I'm pretty sure all the patients were a type of cancer patient. So, what is this? And my mom realized I didn't know anything. And my mom was like my best friend. She told me what was going on. She told me she had cancer, and she told me if I ever had any questions or wanted to know something, to ask her, because she wasn't going to keep something like that from me. I found out that they were keeping it from me so I could do well in school for the last 2 weeks, so I wouldn't freak out, because they assumed I'd freak out. I didn't freak out though. I just was like, wow, so I gotta just appreciate the time I have. Because my mom, when she was diagnosed, they found tumors all over, and she was already at stage 4. You know anything about cancer, stage 4, basically you're on your deathbed. You're done. She was already at stage 4 when they found it, so we didn't know how long we had. We find out that there's way more tumors than they found. So everything just kept going downhill. There's the summer of 2016. It was almost every single week. We went to the radiology center, I think is what it's called. And she got radiation. And then later on in the summer, she started getting chemos. She didn't feel that it was everybody's business. So I couldn't tell anyone what was going on. And it was really hard being a young teen, because like obviously all your friends want to hang out, or like they're like, hey, can I come to your house? And you're like, well, no, my mom's sick. My mom went through a lot of weight loss, just like with the hair gone, because my mom actually started to lose her hair again. The hair that was growing back was coming out again, and she was really sad about that, because there was actually a couple of haircuts that she had been planning to do when her hair grew back. And my mom like wore these little cute little knitted hats all the time because her hair was gone. And it's kind of sad, because my mom kind of thought she might scare little kids, and she kind of thought like maybe she looked like a monster. But she definitely did. She definitely didn't look like a monster, but she thought maybe she did. So yeah, the beginning of summer, I stopped hanging out with people because I had to be with my mom a lot more. And the hospital had kept her in there, and they didn't tell her what was wrong. She's like, this is ridiculous. Like, they're not telling me why I'm still here. And she had been there for like 3 weeks, and I remember I felt so awful because I thought my mom was gonna die the last week of school, and I only got to visit her like an hour total because of the stupid exams. And like the teachers didn't really care. I mean, if you never understood my random comments during this school year about how like teachers don't care about you, it's like I've been through a lot, but I do understand some of them do care about you, but it was intense. We're just gonna go. We're just gonna skip forward. My mom couldn't walk anymore, and she couldn't breathe anymore, so she actually had to use the oxygen tank. One memory I have is I came home, I actually went out and did something, and I went to the beach with my friends, and I remember it was so great to me. I felt so happy, because after a while, I started to run from this. I started to take every chance I had to get out of the house, because this part that I'm getting into was actually very scary, and I didn't want to be around it anymore. And mind you, I was 15 at the time, so it was a lot. And I remember I came home, and my mom and dad had just gotten home too, and they were in the parking lot. Well, not in the parking lot, they were in the driveway. And my mom was out there, and she like saw my friends in the car, and she like waved at them, and she smiled a ton, and she was like really happy, and she was like glad I had so much fun. And they had just gone out to get a wheelchair, and she was so excited because it was the cutest little wheelchair to her, and like they had gotten the best deal on it, I guess, and she was super excited about it. And like I remember she like was like, take a picture of me in it, take a picture of me in it, and like we sent it to my sister and all of them, and she was just so excited. One sad thing is, and this is where the story takes a big jump, she only had that wheelchair for about a week. everything got even worse, and it happened so fast. It was almost like she turned into a child. She started forgetting things. In her mindset, she started saying things that didn't make sense anymore. And she would ask me to help her with things that generally just aren't safe or smart. And I remember I'd get so scared because she'd yell at me for not doing it. But she didn't understand that I couldn't, and it wasn't okay if I did that because we could have gotten hurt. She wasn't there some days, like she would just lay there and she wouldn't really be able to communicate, and she'd just stare off to space, and then you'd get lucky that there'd be these days where she could talk to you a little bit. No one was listening to me when I was like, I'm sure this is it. We ended up resulting in bringing her to hospice. And if you don't know what hospice is, it is a place where they take care of you until you pass away. It's to make you comfortable. The last week, the one that really had us decide it was time for hospice, was we were bringing her back to the cancer center, which I had spent a lot of time at, and they were super nice. They took care of us. They had like cookies and like hot cocoa and coffee and books and TV for the family as well. They were taking care of your loved one. You could tell that they were lying to my mom. And she knew it too. And it was sort of the thing where like, we can't help you anymore. There's nothing we can do. But none of them told her that. And we all figured it out on our own, that they couldn't do anything. And I remember that crushed my mom because she was trying so hard. She was trying so hard to get better. She felt like everyone was giving up on her. Nobody gave up on her. I hope you ask a lot of questions and you find out sooner, because I just think that if we would have known that there wasn't anything they could do, she would have been able to not spend so much time trying so hard and just enjoying the time she had left and getting to do something she really wanted to do. When she went to hospice, it was like she was already gone. She couldn't talk to us anymore, but they said she could hear us. So we really had to take that time and talk to her. And that is something I've learned from this experience that's very important. You have to let them know you're there. Time is so important. I didn't talk to my mom a lot that last week. My mom didn't know me as long as everybody else, so I felt that I owed it to them, that they really got the chance to say their goodbyes to her. I did get to say my goodbyes. The whole hospice thing could be a story or video on its own, but I'm very grateful to them. When my mom passed away, I was holding her hand, and it's kind of crazy because I watched my mom take her last breath. That's such a weird thing to say, but I mean, I did. And that type of thing doesn't feel real, especially if you go through it. And there's so many feelings with this, and I've grown up so much through this experience, and like I said in the beginning of the video, I was awful at explaining it. There's so much I missed. You're not going to be able to understand it unless you go through it, because I've always been an empathetic person. If someone was feeling a certain way, I felt it too. So I always thought I understood, but I didn't until I was going through it. Everyone copes with everything differently. I'm at a loss for words. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, if you made it all the way through. If you want another video, like a part 2 of this story, or if you want advice, or if you have any questions, or like I said, if you want a coping video, or a video on like the aftermath, or how you feel or how I feel about the whole thing, I can definitely do that. I tried not to get too much into feelings just because this video would be so long, and it's such a big thing. It's so big. You can't explain it all. And there's so many parts, like I said, that just branch out. So if you want a video, or you can even just ask questions in the comments and I will get back to you, or just reach out to me. If you ever need help with anything, I don't know. Yeah, so this is a very personal video. I hope it makes sense. I hope I did good. I don't know, but this is my first video and I wanted to share something like this with you guys. I guess you can like it and subscribe. That's kind of a weird thing to ask on a video like this, but that's like the normal YouTuber thing to do. So hit that like button and follow stuff. I don't know, but thank you, really. Thank you for watching this, and I hope that if you're friends or family of mine, that maybe this will help you understand me a little bit, because I did change. But I think from something like this, everybody's gonna change. And change is okay. Thanks.